Welcome tonight. Let me let you know what you walked into. This is an outpost meeting, Point Men International Ministries here in Colorado Springs. We do this once a week. A brief background. Point Men was started 10 years after pullout of Vietnam. A couple of police officers realized, we seem to be arresting the same guys over and over again for the same things. Public intoxication, public fighting, vagrancy, domestic violence. And the common denominator is like these two Seattle police officers, they're all Vietnam vets. But these guys never seem to fully transition home. They left a big part of themselves in theater. They start meeting in coffee shops, just provide support, accountability, and encouragement. Because the cool thing about groups like that is nobody understands a combat vet better than another combat vet. So that's what we do, and we're here for all the vets in our community, kind of an outside group, we've been titled, because we'll go and meet any vet anywhere at their point of need. Whether it be the hospital, mental health ward, jail. Come on in, Cynthia. Wherever the need is, we're going to go and we're going to meet them. We're going to take care of that need, and we're willing to walk alongside a brother, be a battle buddy to him to help get through a tough point. So let's do some introductions. We'll go around the room. Brief stuff. I'll start, Bob, if you don't mind. All right, so Jay, 30-year Army veteran, grew up in Alaska. Fort Carson, my first duty assignment. As it turns out, this is my last assignment in this area. So I read the book Downrange to Iraq and Back by Chuck Dean and Dr. Bridget Cantrell. It taught me a lot about my issues. I'm reading this book and I'm checking the block, going through all these symptoms. But there was a model in that book of a veteran support group. And I got to the back and I read the reference on it. It was Point Man Ministries. So I called them. I said, yeah, I'm retiring. Army Lieutenant Colonel, 30 years, been around the block a few times, a couple combat tours, combat command. You got an outpost out here? Because I'd like to be part of it. And the president said, no, we need one. I said, yeah, you do. You got 5 active duty military installations and they're mobilizing Guard and Reserve. Yeah, we need one. He said, you want to be it? Dana, let me pray about that, think about that. So that's what got us started. So yeah, 30 years, more assignments than I can go into, but no regrets. I'd do it again. I would do it again. Johnny? Bob?
So I want to say thank you, though, to all of you for letting us, with TalkingWithHeroes.com, to be here with you, to put this on film, what you want to share today. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of veterans, military families watching this, and will appreciate everything that you're saying. But I also want to say thank you to each of you for your service to our country. And let me go ahead and pass it down this way for now, and then I'll come back the other way.
My name's William Richardson. Was in Iraq and Afghanistan. I served in the Army for 10 years and the Navy 2 years prior to that. And I got out of the Army and became a homeless veteran and got assistance through Mount Carmel and met up with Point Man for assistance also.
I'm Hollywood, John, too many Johns in here, and Marine Corps, 1978, 4 years, Light Infantry Scouts, operations in South America, and I've been in this group since 2011, and probably the first time I started feeling that normal.
Yeah, my name is Jason Rumsey, retired Army Sergeant medically. I served 10 years, 3 deployments. I joined in 97, was stationed in Germany, deployed to Kosovo from there, came back. 9/11 happened, went back to active duty. In between that time, I met my wife. We got married. I rejoined active duty. I deployed my first time to Iraq in October of '03 and came back in May of '04, I think. Second time was sometime in 2005 to 2006. Been blown up way too many times to even try to remember. Too many firefights, too many patrols. We got out in 2007, med boarded at 10%, but joined a SABOT lawsuit and ended up getting my retirement in February of 2012, which was backdated to the day I got out. My wife was the one who made me fight for that. She's the one who told me I needed it and that I earned it. And no matter if I believed it or not, but that fight and the fight with the VA were the two things that have kind of kept me going, especially since I lost her in November of 2010 due to an undiagnosed brain tumor. Since then, like Jay was saying, in and out of Veterans Trauma Court, completed Veterans Trauma Court, found out that one of the pre-existing issues that was never a major issue for me until my wife passed was panic attacks, which I still get to this day, which basically feels like getting punched in the chest over and over and over and over. Harley, this is my service dog, Harley Quinn. She likes being the center of attention. I got her when she wasn't even tall enough to reach my knee. I've trained her ever since. She's the one who's kind of kept me upright and afloat over the last couple of years since I've had her. I've got another animal at the house, which is my wife's cat, who is basically a therapy animal. I trained him like I trained her, so he responds to verbal commands and nonverbal commands. So it's kind of funny. It gives me something to do. Other than that, yeah, I recently won my fight with the VA as well. I'm now 100% permanent and total, but not unemployable, which is the way I feel I need to be until I can at least get to the point where I can either work again or figure out I can't work again because I can't retain the information. Other than that, I started with Point Man, what was it, 3 weeks ago, after an altercation with law enforcement when they tried to prevent me from going into my house for an unknown reason, never told me, but then proceeded to beat me unconscious while I was in my house and drag me out of it, and then detained me, took me to the police subdivision and released me from there and told me to get a taxi home. So I wasn't even arrested. I got to go to court on that on the 11th. So John's known me ever since. He came and saw me the day after it happened and basically had to drag me out of the house because I myself couldn't even hardly walk. And my migraines from my multiple TBIs have just been even worse over the last 2.5 weeks since it happened. So one of the reasons I'm here tonight, even though I really have a really bad migraine at the moment, was because I told John I'd be here and I told Jay I'd be here. So no matter how bad I feel, I try to still do what I promise, you know what I mean? That's one of those Army values. So 10 years of service, 10 years of fighting the VA. That's me in a nutshell. So.
Hi, I'm John, or JB. I was born at Fort Benning, raised in Central Florida, ended up graduating high school in Salt Lake City, Utah, joined the Army from there and picked Fort Carson as my permanent duty station. At the time, my parents moved back to Florida, where I grew up. But I've been at Fort Carson, met my wife here in Colorado. I was active as a power generator mechanic, reserve as a finance pay specialist, and in the Guard, I retired as a senior chaplain assistant for the state of Colorado. It's been great 26 years. I spent 9 months of it in Bosnia Herzegovina, another 12 months after 9/11 down at Pueblo Chemical Depot. I look at this as a chance to give back.
My name is Park. I'm originally from Knoxville, Tennessee. I served for 4 years in the Navy on board the USS Pensacola. Served in First Gulf War and Bosnia. I first became involved, or got with Point Men Ministries. It was about 6 months ago, and they were helping giving me a ride to get back and forth to various VA appointments that I was unable to get to. And more recently, they've stepped up to help with a recent diagnosis. I received a renal cancer, to give me support and a brotherhood, just guidance on getting through it. At the same time, me and my wife of 15 years decided to separate. And so at the same time with the diagnosis, I was also homeless. And they really just stepped up and went beyond anything I ever expected for as far as help is concerned.
My name is Cynthia. I was raised on the Jersey Shore and in New York City. And then I went to high school in upstate New York, graduated from Trinity Pauling School as valedictorian in 1980, went off to college in New England, and then transferred out to Evergreen State College, right next door to where the Colonel went to school at St. Martin's in Olympia, Washington. Became a nurse in 2005, and joined up with Point Man in 2013 to help one of the Point Man members who had stage 3 colon cancer, and I'm now their resident shaman, witch doctor, depending on who you're talking to, and I help with herbs and supplements that seem to relieve a lot of imbalances and immune system deficiencies that folks have. And I've used my 13 years of nursing and my 9 years of researching viruses and virus diseases that a lot of people catch, and to help people in this group. And I know I'm appreciated here, and I'm glad to come when I'm in town. And I work as a travel nurse too.
Hi, my name is John Elliott. I'm a advocate for Postman Ministries. My history is combat, 3 tours, Vietnam, 67, 68, 69, 1st Battalion Mechanized 5th Infantry, 25th Division. My unit is the 3rd oldest infantry battalion or division in the Army. 1808 she was established. I came down with my first heart attack in '04, and by the time it was all over with, I've had 6 heart attacks due to Agent Orange. Also, I had melanoma. I guess that's the skin cancer. I got rid of that too. And then last year, I came down with stage 4 cancer, renal failure. And by golly, blood pressure is 107/70. And I deem that all to what I do with grace for Point Man. and all the prayers. I mean, this is just a little shade of our outfit. In fact, most of these boys are mine that I helped pull out of the swamp there a little bit. But what my colonel to the right of me, I'm his left-hand man here, but I've known him for approximately 13 years. And as far as the most outstanding, and I'm a person, and I have to tell you true, I did not like officers before I met him. He came up through the ranks up to E6 in the enlisted ranks, and went on up into to 06, 05, light colonel. But he has worked with me, and I've worked with him, and kind of he's so busy he's got his fingers in just about every pie there is here in Colorado and out of Colorado into the Dakotas and all over, and he's just a wonderful person. I'm so proud to be associated with him and my fellow soldiers in Hollywood, and we go back through a lot of trials in JB. We go through a lot of trials and tribulations that we've had to work out with some of our troops, but it's a mission, but it's a mission that we adhere to and love, and I guess that's about all I have to say. Thank you. Oh, this is my boy, Poncho. He's my service dog, but when I came down with stage 4 cancer, I'd go to the hospitals, and there would be little children in there about to go through the same ordeal that I was going through. And he was able to look at them, and they were able to look at him, and they wouldn't be thinking about what they're about to go through. So from that point on, which is a little bit tougher, I use him as a therapy dog with the Warrior program, and he's also a spokesperson for Victory Outreach, which we get service dogs for our troops. So everything within Point Man is totally for the soldier and for those that are in my era, in the Korean era, and homeless, housebound, hospitalized. We're there, and that's what we do, and that's what we love to do. Thank you. Well, Poncho, thanks you.
I'm sorry. Yes, thank you, Bob. Thanks for reminding me. Point Man is, as an international, you can go on the website, Point Man International Ministries. It's just abbreviated as PMIM.org. Click on the Outpost and Home Fronts, and we're in more countries than I can name across the globe. And I guess the cool thing about that is if you go to Brisbane, Australia, these are Australian soldiers. You go to Saigon, that outpost is Vietnamese soldiers. You go to Africa, or I talked to my buddy Tony down in Ecuador, these are their soldiers. These aren't Americans. They use the same faith-based model we use. Quick story, I was talking to Fred Griggs on Skype. He's in Brisbane, Australia. He told me, he said, Jay, you Yanks have got it easy. What do you mean, Fred? Your soldiers have the same symptoms and issues ours do. The high alcoholism, high suicide rate, high divorce rate, the domestic violence and such. The only difference is our equivalent of the VA does not recognize post-traumatic stress as an injury of war. It's like, wow, Fred, that is a good point. Yeah, we're fortunate, but at the same time, can't take that away. And I hope you're acknowledging and supporting your soldiers, as I'm sure you are, like we're doing here. That's what it's all about. You've always had a battle buddy in the military. When you get out, who have you got? Way too much isolation going on, way too much self-medication going on. We got to drag folks out of the house, come out and socialize. These are vets. You're gonna like it. Try it. So that's what we do in Bob, in Colorado Springs here.
It's one of the things. Our TBI outreach, TBI.
Oh, WTB.
No, what, WTB. Traumatic brain disorder.
Yeah, if that's a good point, Johnny. If people say, "Well, why do you do what you do? What benefit do you provide?" It's all about the post-redeployment issues. And when you come back with post-traumatic stress, you come back with multiple TBIs, and you're still trying to figure out what's my new normal going to look like. That's a hard thing to walk through. Better to walk through it with someone who's been there before and can kind of guide you along the way. Yeah, the battles with VA. Johnny's fought the VA longer than anybody I know. What, 20 some years, 30 some years, 40?
From 74, from 74 to 04. And then I magically got 100%.
Yeah, 40 years to get 100% after 3 tours in Vietnam and all the Agent Orange issues.
It is a war, but it's changed so dramatically that I can't explain how much they have turned themselves around. However, it's a constant battle with what we're going through. There's still some great misunderstandings between our police department, fire department, with our veterans that do get manhandled. I had one young man that got thrown in jail when his chest collapsed, his stage 4 cancer. He's right at the table with me here. And another one, because his radio was up too loud, he got beat up. And that's something that we have to turn around, that we're all in this battle together. You know, we all wear this flag. Some of it has the blue in the lines, some of it has the red. But the main body line is that we're all soldiers, and we all have to live through all of this. It's one of my griefs.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We talk about that a lot. You know, how can we help? The nice thing is around this room we've got Air Force, Army, Marine, and Navy, and our shaman.
Which stuff?
Yeah. So let's get on with the rest of our program, and just for folks that are watching, you know, we don't grade ourselves on numbers. We grade ourselves on the quality of our connections in our meetings, and we always do it with a closed door. We got very simple rules. Confidentiality is the biggest one. You know, there's nothing that was said tonight that we're not all aware of, but when we put our civilians out is when we can really deal with the tough stuff. The stuff that's beating us up, keeping us up at night, stressing us out, causing the anxiety, causing the anger, the self-medication, and so forth. So that's a big part of the post-redeployment issues that we want to deal with. We can openly talk about suicide in this group. I mean, any given time, if I ask, you know, who's had thoughts this week, hands go up. We can talk about it, but we make sure everybody has got numbers, a lifeline. Call your battle buddy. Say, talk me out of something I'm about to do. Maybe it's walk into a liquor store. Maybe it's I've got a cock 45 to my chin. But to have that kind of support, Bob, that's important. That's the value we provide to this community. Any questions of us, Bob?
One other thing that I'd like to add is that nationwide we're losing 20 soldiers a day due to traumatic stress disorder and TBIs. And we work with the Warrior Battalion on Fort Carson once a month to try to prevent that, but it's just our everyday soldiers that are going through grief. And we find that, you know, amongst us we have many answers, many walks of life, many individuals that have had a problem that they might be able to share when we do go to the down mode, which is what goes on here stays here. But that's what we're all about, and I've never seen an organization, and believe me, I have raised 107 been gangbangers in 18 years, and I have never seen an organization like Point Man and the Colonel, and I'm so proud to be a part of him, that works and helps those troopers that are down immediately. We go try to outsource some of our work, but most of it comes from our own, and the Colonel knows where to go to get that.
How about a shout out to some of the guys that have been with us and have moved to other states? Our brother in South Dakota, John Thor. Hope.
So I always like to not end a program without giving a shout out to our troops. We have a lot more troops than most people in America, I think, realize, deployed in many different areas. So would you like to all participate in that? I'll just pass the mic around again, and then we'll close the program.
Yeah, just prayers for 2nd Infantry Brigade Combat Team deployed this past month, an entire brigade, and that's not uncommon for Fort Carson. So for those young men, young women that are out there, our prayers are with you. God bless you. Come home safe.
Give a shout out to our troops.
Yeah, I would like to thank our troops that I love so well, the Bobcats, 1st Battalion, 5th Infantry Regiment, out at Fort Wainwright, and it took you out of the jungles and put you in the snow, and that's so terrible. But we love you, brothers, and you stay strong.
I'd also like to do a shout out for a couple of our out-of-state Point Man members. Dan Barry, who's in Illinois, Pearly Bird up in Montana, who off to them, and all of the out-of-state in their body, in depression, in their struggles that are going through the VA and through getting their disability claims. It's a long haul. Keep with it. There are a lot of remedies out there, a lot that work. Just keep searching for them.
I just want to thank all the troops serving around the world. Thank you for your service and everything you do, and just want you to be safe. I'll keep you in my prayers and hope you come home soon.
Having retired as a chaplain assistant, the chaplains and chaplain assistants that work with the troops on the front lines and in the hospitals and that, God bless you guys. You are sorely needed, and you are very much appreciated. And a shout out to all of you wherever you are.
Yeah, I'd like to shout out to 4th ID, all of 4th ID, also Old Ironsides, which is 1st Armored Division, and 101st Airborne.
I'd like to shout out to all of the active duty service, and hopefully that they will be as professional as they can, and just survive.
Okay.
I'd like to give a shout out to Phil Longford, who made this facility at Mount Carmel possible, and another gentleman, it's in the back of the room, that's very quiet, that's always there for us. He's a football legend and hero, Randy Gradishaw, and those wonderful people that work here. Thank you.
Yes, Bob McLaughlin, Cheryl Christie, Nick Pellerino, all those at the Mount Carmel Veterans Service Center here in Colorado Springs. You've come a long way in 2 years, and we celebrate your victory. We support you, and thank you for supporting us.
I'd also like to do a shout out for Manuel Valenzuela and for his brother and for the Valenzuela brothers, and how they bring a lot of good publicity to the deported veterans who came to this country, served faithfully, honestly, with integrity in our troops, and are living out their last days outside our borders. They were entitled to U.S. citizenship. Most service members that perform at least 2 years defending our flag, our Constitution, and our rights and our way of life are entitled to join in the benefits of being citizens in this country. And they're in exile, but they shed their blood. They're not even getting the VA benefits or the disability ratings or anything. They're sitting alone in third world countries, homeless. Their families were here that they married. They're across the border. They have no support systems. They're not recognized by their country of origin because they lived away from that country for decades. And now they're sick, and they have the same illnesses and troubles that we have here, but they have no recourse. They're not allowed in our borders, and the Valenzuela brothers have brought this up many times, even to our Secretary of State of Colorado. Lieutenant Colonel McGee met with him last fall. So we continue also to support the veterans that are outside our borders, and we recognize them as members of our Point Man ministry too.
They are deported. They have Purple Hearts and Bronze Stars on their chest. Marines, hoorah.
Well, I want to thank you all for allowing me to come in here and meet you all, and we will have these on our YouTube page. Does anybody not get one of my cards? All our social media, if you're on any of those, you're welcome to share them, put your comments. And then to people watching, those of you who've been watching me for a long time, you know I say this every time at the end of a program. Please, if you like what you hear, please share this with everybody you can on social media. It's very difficult right now on some of the major social media to get messages out unless you pay them. And I don't have a way to do that right now. So it'd be helpful a lot for you to share them and put your comments about what you thought. And so I want to thank you all again for letting me be here. To all of our men and women who are serving, including the Schofield Barracks soldiers I'll be talking to later this month on video. Thank you for your service to our country. We look forward to you coming back safe. And be safe, stay alert. God bless you. God bless America.